Well, good morning, everyone. And how are you? Once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And we got an interesting study that I want to go over with you today. But before I do, let's say hello to a few folks here. And Rosalinda, you're numero uno today. Rosa, duo, nativity. Number 3, Sandra. Good morning, Lori, Niagara Falls. Kevin, Oshawa. Steph, good morning. Annette, Nouveau Brunswick. Len and Judy, Edmonton. Marin, good morning. Yolande, how are you? Jeanette, bonjour. Anne, Moncton, New Brunswick. Bernice, Newfoundland. Lisa Marie, how are you? Jeanette from our staff. Mike from Norland. Jane from Tirana. Catherine, Newfoundland. And Micheline. And Marilyn. Louise, and Lori. Great morning to you. Deb from Timmins, Hazel. What causes burning in the mouth syndrome? Usually a low B12. Nick, Donna, good morning. Pauline, Saskatoon. Luella, Tennessee, eating their bacon and eggs with coffee. You're my hero. Wendy, good morning. Alliston, Nellie, Anne, good morning. And Cindy, and Marianne, and Diane, good morning. Wendy from Markham, good morning, Wendy. Julie, and our buddy Dr. Troy, good morning from Newfoundland. And Carla, Darlene, you got to hear this study I got coming, guys. You get bonjour, Michelle from California. Suzanne, Ottawa, but she says she's a native of Sudbury. Alicia, Diney from Alberta. Akko, how are you? Renee, good morning to you. And 2 Renees, one from Australia. Well, hello, Australia. Shelley, Anne, 2 Anns in a row. Anne with an E and Anne, 3 Anns in a row. Wow. Rhonda, help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Deb, Chantal, Frances Marie, Connie, good morning. And Lorraine. Okay, Shirley, Montreal, nice to have you on. Bernadette and Denise. Okay, let's get going and I'll try and come on after. Hey, Pauline from Newfoundland. Okay, now, this study came out last week. And for me, it blew my socks away. Okay? Now, I don't say that often, but I found this study fascinating. And it came out of the Boston Medical Center. And Boston Medical Center made a few observations about cancer that is really interesting. First of all, they were saying that 50% of their cancer patients, 50% of their cancer patients at Boston Medical Center were obese. The second thing they said, 30% of their cancer patients at Boston Medical College were already diabetics. Now, let me put a little asterisk in there because you know me, diabetes is the last thing that happened to people. Not the first, the last. Diabetes comes very late in the process of metabolic syndrome. Okay? So here they are. They said that 50% of their patients are obese, cancer patients, and 30% diabetic. Now, what they had to say is fascinating, because what their studies are showing is that cancer cells, okay, cancer cells, and listen, Linda, every one of us, okay, see this space? In my body today, there are cancer cells. In your body today, there are cancer cells. 100% for sure. There isn't anybody on this planet that doesn't have cancer cells. Okay? But that doesn't mean you're going to get a tumor or a growth or whatever. Your immune system is fully equipped to fight cancer every day. Okay? And I always use the illustration. Where's my ballpoint pen? There it is. I always use the illustration. For cancer to get to that size, just the tip of a ballpoint pen takes 5 years. But every day you have a battle going on, not only in your gut, okay, but we always talk about that. The fight that goes on, invisible war that goes on between your good bacteria and your bad bacteria, okay? So let's leave that aside. There's another war that goes on between cancer cells and your immune system. It's a silent war, most often no symptoms at all. Your body knows what to do if your immune system is in top shape. Now, let's get back to this study out of the Boston Medical College, where they had 50% of all their cancer patients were obese. And what they said was fascinating. They said cancer cells and fat cells, okay, are frenemies. Okay? Let me say it again. Well, they didn't say frenemies, I'm saying it. Do you know what a frenemy is? Oh yeah, we're friends all right. You really can't stand each other, okay? Okay? So cancer cells and fat cells are frenemies. Apparently, according to their study at the Boston Medical College, really interesting, they're communicating with each other. Fat cells and cancer cells. And what Boston College determined, which is, you didn't see this in the news, but it should have been big news. It's unreal. I almost fell over when I saw it. Because what they're saying is, when cancer cells meet fat cells, they're frenemies. But what those fat cells do is they take the cancer and help cancer cells to spread. So what they were saying is, at the Boston Medical College, is when someone was obese or diabetic, and we'll come back to that in a minute, their cells were taking cancer cells and helping them to spread like wildfire. So this was incredible research. It gave me another reason to celebrate the reset. Because obviously, if you're doing the reset, let's just talk cancer cells. You're not feeding them. And as we explain, cancer cells, okay, there's a difference between a cancer cell and tumors, okay? So let's go over that just for a second. Cancer cells need fuel. And you guys already know the answer to that. Cancer cells are kids and teenagers. They love sugar. And they'll look for sugar. And of course, I always use the example of the PET scan that they give you a cup of glucose, radioactive glucose, or they shoot it right into your veins, glucose. And in a PET scan, you light up like a Christmas tree if you have cancer somewhere. Incredible technology. But what this study is saying, cancer cells, on their own, if you don't feed them, they got nowhere to go. And your body will take care of it. You have in your immune system natural killer cells, okay? Natural killer cells. And NK, they're called. And if you have enough vitamin D in your body, they're like kamikaze pilots or Navy SEALs, and they'll go after your cancer cells and they'll destroy them. But you can't feed them because you get a double whammo. If you feed a cancer cell, it grows. Okay? If you feed a cancer cell, it grows. But secondly, if you insist on eating sugar, it suppresses the activity of your natural killer cells, including your T cells, which are part of your lymphatic system. So you get a double whammo. But what they're showing in this study too is really interesting, is if you have fat cells around a cancer cell, now it's a double whammo. It's a bad news bear. Because those fat cells hitch their wagon to cancer cells and they spread. Because again, let me unpack the study a little bit more for you. In Boston Medical College, and they're always trying to figure out why, okay? Which is, I really like when you ask the question, why? Too often in medicine, they don't ask that question, why? They just want to treat the symptom. Or you get cancer, okay, you got cancer, here we go. Radiation, surgery, chemotherapy, they attack the cancer. Okay, that's what they do. But nobody talks about prevention of cancer. And at the Boston Medical College, they're asking why. Why what? Number one, 70 to 80% of their patients who have cancer are African American. Okay? They're African American. Do you know that 80% of the population of African Americans are obese? So when at the Boston Medical College, they know that. So they go, what is it that young people, especially young African Americans, are getting all these cancers and they're spreading like wildfire? Colon cancer, I've talked to you about this. Colorectal cancer, breast cancer. Are we winning the war on breast cancer? But one of the worst things we can do, and I can tell you why. I can tell you why. They didn't even mention this in the article. That a cancer, I got to keep to the sides. Cancer cells, fat cells, they hitch their wagon to each other and they're transported. But I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. You know why? Because cancer cells, okay, what makes them take off in the presence of fat cells? What do fat cells secrete? They absorb it and they secrete it. Let me see if you're thinking with me. It's sort of a trick question. What is a fat cell? What is a fat cell? And a cancer cell? Okay? Why do fat cells transport? Okay? I don't see anything coming up, but you probably know already. Triglycerides? Yes, to some extent, John, you're right. Triglycerides, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. Because this one, Marie, yes, toxins for sure. Yes, yes, yes. Fat cells hold on to toxins. What is the other thing that fat cells hold on to? Roxanne, insulin. Yes, yes, yes. You're all right. You got it. But I'm looking for something else too. Okay, you got it. Insulin, toxins. Okay. Brenda says insulin. Look, if I was giving you a test and you gave me those answers, Daphne says insulin. Yes, and Marilyn, you got it. The answer I was looking for. Marilyn got it, and so did Janet, and so did Ashley, and so did Lori. And Regina, you're thinking too, sugar, yes. Charles, sugar, yes. But you know what they said? Estrogen. You see, fat cells. This is one of the reasons, guys, I want you to do the reset. You could be skinny on the outside and have fat cells around your heart, fat cells around your pancreas, fat cells, visceral fat, dangerous fat around your liver, and you're skinny as 2 rakes. But those fat cells, yes, they take in toxins. Yes, they take in insulin. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. And triglycerides. Yes. You're all right. But one of the things they do 2 things. A fat cell secretes estrogen, and a fat cell receives estrogen. What is estrogen? What is estrogen? Estrogen is a growth hormone. That's why ladies get breast cancer. It's a perfect storm. Perfect storm. What is breast cancer? Now, ladies, you already have some form of breast cancer. You have cancer cells. And they're probably in your breast as we're speaking. Men, you probably have prostate cancer cells as we speak. Okay, but your body knows what to do with that stuff. So what do? Don't feed it. Don't give it sugar. Okay? And you don't want no fat cells around it because fat cells release estrogen and they receive estrogen. What is estrogen? It's a growth hormone. Now, ladies, you want some estrogen? You're a woman. No problem. Men, you want testosterone, not estrogen. You get a little bit of estrogen, and ladies, you get a little bit of testosterone, but it's not even worth talking about. Don't ever, people ask me every once in a while, because even women ask me, Doc, what's my testosterone levels? Who cares? I don't care. Don't care. Why? Because that's not your dominating hormone. You don't care about testosterone. As long as your estrogen and progesterone are balanced, you don't have to worry about your testosterone. Okay? Yeah, you don't want testosterone. You want a little bit. It's like a man with estrogen. The problem is with men today, they got more estrogen than their wives. And what they're determining is estrogen, fat cells, insulin-resistant fat cells are dangerous because they're frenemies with cancer cells. Frenemies. They sit there and talk to each other, but they pretend they like each other. They don't. Because fat cells will grab the cancer cells and say, let's go for a little tour. And they will leave your breast tissue. They'll leave the prostate, and they'll go to the bones, and they'll visit the lungs, and they'll visit the liver, and they'll visit the brain. You want to know how cancer spreads? Because we always thought, and I fought this for a long time, by the way. I really fought this for a long time. Cancer spreads by the lymphatic system. I was never big on that, okay? And look, I'm just a little wee guy, a little individual. And I used to tell people, nah, the cancer cell doesn't spread. You want cancer cells in your lymphatics. That's God gave you a sewage system. You want to get rid of it? Your lymphatics will get rid of cancer. Oh, they spread, doc, by lymphatics. I disagree with that. Okay? I'm not going to win a Nobel Prize because a lot of physicians don't like to hear that cancer doesn't spread through the lymphatic system. It spreads through blood. But now we have a better idea why. Because cancer cells they hitch their wagon to fat cells. Okay? They hitch their wagon to fat cells. And then, don't feed cancer cells, one. And then we know another thing about lipids, okay? Now remember, okay, let me get my pen. Where did I put it? It was right in front of me. Come on. Did I not have a pen out? Yes, I did. Oh, here it is. Okay, now, remember this? Let's do this illustration for a minute. Okay? The 5-year thing. I always shock people like that. I remember doing an American morning show years ago. Oh man, that was a long time ago. Probably 15 years ago at least. I brought a pen. And it was after I wrote a book. That's why I got interviewed. I wrote a book, Secrets Your Doctor Won't Share With You. Okay? And the host had me on. You get 5 minutes, okay? So you got to go pretty quick. And I had a ballpoint pen in my shirt, okay? I took it out and I went like this. You see this? Okay? And I told the cameraman, when I bring out my pen during the thing, come right up close and see it. They did that, okay? I'll try and see if I can find that video and actually get you to watch it. Now, I didn't look like this. That was 15 years ago. Okay? If you don't believe in free radical damage, look at this video 15 years ago. Oh, it's maybe more than that. I think it's 20 years ago now that I did it. Okay? Well, no, 15, because that's when I wrote the book, Secrets Your Doctor Won't Share With You. Okay? So what I did is I took out the ballpoint pen and I said, see that? That's how long it takes cancer to grow to this size. People think cancer is rapidly growing. No, it's not. It doesn't. It takes a long time. It's silent. That's why it always bothers me, guys. You know what bothers me? Is when we talk about early detection. Look, am I against early detection? No. But that's not prevention. That's detection. And by the time you detect a cancer, it's been there for a long time. Like, ladies, in your breast tissue, you know, you feel a little lump. Oh, geez, that wasn't there last week. And, you know, like, what is that? And you go get a biopsy and the doctor says, well, you got a tumor there. Okay? Well, that's been there a long time. You just didn't feel it, see? So prevention is stopping the cancer from growing. Now, we know this, okay? Cancer cells need fuel. One, when they are cells, they love sugar. Okay? We know that. They love sugar. Two, when they become a tumor, they switch fuels. They switch. They like lipids, fats. And this is why I always speak about good fats, bad fats. Good fats, bad fats. And this is, I'm convinced I'm 100% right about this. When you go to McDonald's, or when you go to whatever, fast foods, and they, you know, because I saw an advertisement, okay, yesterday. We cook our French fries in canola oil, Canadian oil. You can run your car on it, canola. And so what they were saying is it's a low-fat oil, but it's, you know, it's not saturated fat, so it's good for you. Ooh! When your cancer cells, listen, when cancer cells have developed into a tumor, they switch fuels. They want bad oil. Bad oil. And that's why we see so much cancer today. It's not only sugar, it's bad fats. Because once it's a tumor, it now wants to feed on fats. But it don't feed on good fats. It feeds on bad fats. Because when you, and I've shown you this study, groundbreaking. It should be in the headlines all around it every day. Take DHA oil. Why? Because it makes cancer, it destroys it. See, because cancer tumors are looking for lipids. But if you give them the right lipid, they get sucked in. Oh, I like that. Come here, come here. And then it destroys cancer. It makes it explode. Not to spread, but to destroy it. Guys, think about this study. How fascinating it is that we understand the spread of cancer much more than we used to. And you know, and what you can do is empty your body of those dangerous fat cells. Okay? Now you can have, like I said, it's the visceral fat. It's those fat cells that hitch their wagon to cancer cells. And this is what shocked the Boston Medical College, because they said, why are we seeing so many bad cancers, especially in the African American population, in young? Cancer, you know, go back 100 years, guys. Cancer was almost unheard of. It wasn't that there was none. It just there wasn't much. And today, it's unreal. It bothers me because here we are. We don't talk about this stuff enough. I mean, you and I do. But the world out there, they're ignorant. This study came out. I was doing somersaurts. Well, for a 70-year-old, okay? It's not really a somersault, okay? No, but seriously, guys, I was just flabbergasted. I said, holy moly. Man, no wonder it spreads through the blood. It hitches its wagon to these fat cells and gets transported from the brain to the liver, to the pancreas, and the bowel. So this study was saying, to the African Americans, boy, lifestyle is really important. Getting rid of well, they didn't say it, but I'm saying it. Getting rid of the carbohydrates and the sugars. Get rid of it. Get it down to almost nothing. It's insulin resistance, guys. Metabolic syndrome. And now we know how they're transported. Wow. This is earth-shattering. Groundbreaking. What will come out of it? I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic. But you can see there are places. And, I say this to people, like, just look around. Look at how big people are today. And we're I wrote a book once. I wrote a book called Are You Built for Cancer? And even then, we didn't know all that we know today when I wrote that book. Are you built for cancer? Well, now they're showing fat cells. They're frenemies with cancer cells. They pretend they like you, but they don't. They're going to bring you on a tour to spread. Wow. Isn't that interesting to you? Isn't that interesting to you? To me, it is. Okay. Anyway, I just had to bring that to you today because I flagged it. And wow. See what turns my crank? Okay. So guys, I hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you so much for all the support. We mean that. Like, we are overwhelmed. Tony Jr. and I talk about this all the time. Just about our community that we have, the followers of every week, 50,000 or more followers a week on our lives. And because when you share it, guys, when you share this podcast or through the live Facebook, it just, people watch it. It's amazing. We're just always shocked to some extent to the audience that we have. And we appreciate that. Now, we wrote an email this morning. Did you get it? Did you get it? It was really good. I thought it was good. Okay. If you're not on our email list, you want to get on our email list. Okay. Just because we do some studies. I don't always talk about these studies. Okay. Because we just, it's always the news behind the news. Okay. So we love you guys and we mean it. I don't take you guys lightly. I really appreciate you very, very much. Okay. So Friday question and answer. I answered a question already this morning, burning mouth syndrome. I mean, I could go into detail on that, but that's often what that is. Okay. A low B12. Okay, guys, we love you. We talk to you soon.